Hello and welcome to Tac'd with Spencer P. Today I'm sitting here with Anthony Zabala, who is the owner of Maestro Athletics. He's also a junior varsity coach at Odea Highschool. Did I say that right?
Odea. Yeah.
Odea Highschool?
Yep.
Awesome. So today we're just going to sit down, get to know him. This is my first time. This is my first introduction, so I'll get to know him as good as you guys do. Anthony, awesome. Thanks for being on the show, bud. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. I heard you just won your basketball game on the way over here. Who are you playing?
Rainier Beach.
Okay.
Yeah,
are they a good team?
They're good. They're solid. They brought down a couple of varsity guys, but
they brought on the swingers.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So,
but you still put them up. I heard 20 points over.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was close early, and we were able to pull away. So
sweet.
Yeah.
How long have you been coaching basketball for?
I've been at Odea now for 6 years, but I've been coaching for. I'm over 12 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I've just been involved with. Thank you.
And I take it you've been playing for even longer than that.
Yeah. Ever since I was a kid, so little kid, grew up with hoop just around. My dad was a big basketball guy, so always had a ball in my hand from I can remember.
Oh, nice. He was teaching you early.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever go to like Sonic games or anything like that?
All the time.
Man.
All the time.
I missed that era. I was too young, but I hear some good stories about them. Was that at the Kingdom?
No, it was at Key Arena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when I really got into basketball, it was around that 95, 96 time when they went to the finals against the Bulls.
Okay, when they were really running.
I used to watch like every game, and my dad would take us to games. And back then it was tough because when they were really good, like they would sell the upper bowl tickets really early. But you had to get there early. So I remember going down to Seattle Center with my dad, and we would wait for like 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
To try and get a ticket and get in because they were so hard to get back then. So
we would do the Sabercats. Me and my grandpa would go watch the Tacoma Sabercats at the Dome, and man, it was always a wild show. Like I remember one time we were standing in line and we were just talking with this dude. He was a little drunk and we were just having a good old time. And then like halfway through the show, we go down to get soda and he's walking down covering his face. It's all bloody. He got hit by a flying puck. I'm like, oh, my grandpa, that's the guy we were talking to. Well, sick. So did you grow up here in Seattle? Or
I did, yeah. I was born and raised here in Seattle. In like the Northgate area.
Okay.
North, yeah. So.
And what was that like growing up down there?
It was cool. I mean, for the most part, it was really just chill.
Yeah.
And, yeah. We have a big family, and so I just remember growing up with my cousins always being around, and just being around like family all the time.
That's good. You got a big family?
Oh yeah.
That always makes it way more fun. Do you guys do like family events and all that stuff where the whole gang gets together?
Yep, all the time.
Always
still.
trouble.
Yeah,
we got the same thing in our family. We got a decent sized family. So what year was that? What years were you growing up in Seattle?
I mean, I was born.
I guess I'm asking how old are you?
I'm 34.
Okay, cool.
So my whole life I was born and raised, like I said, born and raised in Seattle, and I didn't really move or anything until I had met my wife, and so I moved down to Renton like 7 years ago.
Oh man, that was a long haul, huh?
Yeah. So I was
whole new environment.
Yeah. So it was different, going from the north to the south.
Yeah. So are you still in Renton now? Or?
We actually live in White Center now, West Seattle.
That's kind of up by like Bellevue-ish area?
No, like West Seattle.
Oh, that's White Castle.
Yeah, White Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. There's like something with a castle over there.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, have you seen a lot of changes to like your old neighborhood? Like, have you gone back there recently?
For sure, yeah. So right where my parents are, they live like right off the freeway, and so literally they're putting in the.
They're right in the heart of the town then.
Yep, yeah.
Oh,
so they're putting in the I can't remember what it's called. The
Bessie or whatever, that big old boring.
Yeah, where it's going from like SeaTac all the way to Linwood. They're literally in the middle of that construction area.
Oh wow!
And they shut down their street so you can only go one way, and so. Yeah, it's definitely changing over there a whole lot. So
is there any talks of them trying to like buy out your parents from their house or anything?
No, so they just they just missed the line. So
their
house is right here, and then this like Fifth Avenue, and then the freeway.
Oh, okay.
So they were safe.
I just seen this picture, and I swear it's a mall in Seattle, and this like 95-year-old lady, they were offering her like $100,000 to buy her house so they can put a mall right there. And her house is like literally right on the outskirts of like the blueprints, and she never sold to them. So they built the mall around this lady's house.
That's
like,
in Ballard.
Yes, yeah. So she's like, there's like an LA Fitness on one side, and then like, you know, an Emerald Smoothie or something on the other, and then some old lady's house is just right in the middle. Like, man, they are with you or without you, they're gonna build that stuff.
Exactly.
So is there a lot of especially after like COVID and stuff? Like, I'm sure you guys lost a lot of small restaurants and stuff up there.
It's always changed. I mean, the mall down the street, Northgate, that's where the Kraken is. They tore it down, and that's where their practice facility is going to be. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been really excited watching all that come together.
Yeah,
Are you getting tickets, or are you a hockey fan at all?
I was when I was a kid. I mean, I might just check it out.
Yeah. I don't know about seasons past. That's a little, spendy for me. But
I watched the Thunderbirds a couple times back in the day, way back in the day. But other than that, I'm a just big hoop head.
Yeah, okay, sweet. I'll do my best, because hoop was the one sport I was not all that. I just never got into it. I never found anyone who like showed me the ropes, and it's honestly too much running for me. I was catcher. I like to stay still and do my thing. So cool. So if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, Odea is like a Catholic school, correct?
Yep. All boys, a private school.
Oh, okay. What is that like? Because I got threatened with an all boys school once or twice in my youth. I've always wondered though, what is it like, especially being a teacher there? And you got you got all these kids who are testosterone pumped up, all boys in the same school. I gotta imagine it's a wild house.
It's crazy. I went there. And so for me, it was to go play basketball there. That was like my only.
They got a good program.
Had a great program when I was growing up, and I just watched them a couple of times. My dad took me to a couple of games when I was in middle school, and I was just hooked with how they were as a program, and so like that was like the easy one for me to like, okay, I'm gonna go regardless of his all boys or whatever. Yeah. So that was my main thing of going there. The day-to-day of just going to school there was, it was pretty wild. It was fun. It was cool just not having to worry about how you got dressed or anything.
Right.
Having to impress anybody. So that was kind of cool. With just like literally every day I would just get up, throw my school clothes on, and just go straight to school.
Yeah, no worry about nothing.
Yeah, so it was fun. We definitely have a lot of stories that we can go through, but. Man, it was a fun time there, just being around all dudes.
That's awesome. I can imagine. I have to wonder, because I was no stranger to trouble in school, but there was always at least the incentive of having girls there to watch. So you at least didn't go overboard to the point where they didn't like you. But if you got nothing but other dudes around you in high school, I have to imagine disciplinary was getting thrown out left and right out there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They were constant guys who were, no stranger to detention. So,
right, I bet. Also, because we have was that Charles Wright and Annie's Wright up here? So it's like an all-boys school and then an all-girls school. Did Odea have like a sister school that was like an all-girls school?
Yeah, it was Holy Names Academy. It was about, I want to say it's like less than 2 miles away.
Okay.
They're more in like Capitol Hill, in the that downtown area. But yeah, they weren't too far. But it was weird because we didn't really do a lot to interact with them a lot. So we had our games where, when we had the JV varsity or whatever, on Friday nights we have quad nights. We would play together, and that was the only time we would really.
That was the only interaction.
Yeah. They would try and do things. Even back then, they would try and do things, but it was all the guys were kind of whatever. Yeah. And just being back there now, it's they do try and make the effort to try and do more stuff with them, which is kind of cool for the guys, just because they don't, extracurricular wise, it's something just for them to do and see girls, I guess, and interact with them. So and I don't expect you to have the exact, but what is the thinking behind separating the boys and the girls? Is it for the obvious reason of keeping them separated, or is there more to it? I honestly don't know. Yeah, they're a brother-sister school, so back in the day there used to be brothers that were in the school, and then I think over there were sisters, but now they've kind of phased out. Oh, sorry about that. Brothers and sisters are the authority figures, or the trying to be priests or nuns. Yeah. So they would be in the school teaching. But now they've kind of phased them out. So it's really just realistically, it's just like a regular private school.
Yeah.
With that, yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So it doesn't sound like you got in all that much trouble in school. You were there for work. And
I tried to stay out, just stay out of trouble as much as I could. And,
that's good. Your dad instilled that in you, or where'd you get that from?
My parents,
Okay.
big, I'm Filipino, so, big Filipino, like, disciplinarian. And
is that a common thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, just trying to stay out of trouble as much, just so I wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah. And
it's not about not getting in trouble. It's about not getting caught, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I know that one. Sweet. So then went through school. Did you do college or anything?
I did. So I went to Shoreline Community College to start, and I was there for a little bit. Didn't really know what I wanted to do. So, I actually got I went there to try and go play after, and I just didn't really like what was going on there. So I was going, I'm
at the school?
Yeah, at Shoreline.
Yeah.
So didn't really like the coach. So I was like, I'm just going to work on getting my AA. So I was there for a minute, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I stayed a lot longer than I should have.
Oh, okay.
But like towards the end of being there, that's where I ended up starting my coaching career.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this guy came in. His name was Butch Estes, and he was actually he learned under the North Carolina Dean Smith head coach.
Okay.
And so for me, it was kind of like that.
Tar Heels, like North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So he learned under him, and for
that's
me,
probably a good person to learn from.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I want to get into coaching, and this might be the way and kind of like the route I want to go, and who better to learn from than a guy who learned from one of the greats. So, I just reached out and was like, hey, like, can I be like the student coach or like the manager or something? And he's like, yeah. He's like, for sure. Like, we need help. And so, I ended up going there, and that's where my coaching journey began.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you went straight from playing to coaching?
Pretty much. No, I mean, there was like a huge gap. Like I said, I was going to school.
I thought I did a little digging and saw you played overseas a little bit.
I did. So it was after. So
okay.
Yeah. So I was at Shoreline, and then I was there for 2 years. And then he actually left and went back to the East Coast because his wife got a job over there.
Okay.
And then so he kind of told me, hey, like if you really want to go do this, like you should leave. And he kind of tried like push me out early without saying that he was going to leave, because I think he was kind of like, well, I want you to get your feet under you, kind of learn.
Right.
And I was
if I'm not here for it.
Yeah, and he didn't really. He kind of just did it, and without even saying like, I'm not going to be here next year. But let me.
He just left you high and dry. He didn't even tell you.
Kind of, but he put me in a position where he was like, you're going to be a head coach here. Like, it's a great opportunity. You should go and do it. Because he didn't know who was coming in after him, so it's kind of like he kind of left it and then for me, I was like, all right, let me go see what it's about, and so I ended up at Odea Highschool in Kirkland.
Okay.
On the east side, and
as the coach.
Yeah, so I was the head. So I started off with the feeder team, so like the middle school 8th grade select team that they had, and then that fed into high school. So then I was the freshman coach for those guys the next year.
Nice.
So I was there for 2 years, and then I was done at Shoreline, and my buddy was actually playing over in the Philippines, and he reached out to me. He's like, man, you need to come out here, try out or whatever. Like, I'm going to try and put you on. So I was like, why not?
Yeah.
And so, I was kind of in between, like, do I want to go to college or finish and get my degree, or, just go work? And so, like, I was like, college is going to be there.
Yeah, that's not going nowhere.
So I'll, let me go try this out. So yeah, I went overseas to the Philippines and played over there for a couple months just to check it out, and yeah. So.
And you said you're Filipino, right?
Yeah.
Was that your first time back home to Philippines?
That was my first time since I was a kid. So I went back when I was like in 1st grade. So like, 6 or 7. Didn't really remember it much.
It's totally different. I did like 3 months out in Australia when I was like 12, and it was cool, but there's not a whole lot you can do at 12 aside from go play in the neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a fun time over there, just learning about like just learning different things, and not necessarily like I didn't play much over there, but once I figured out like okay, this isn't really a route for me to like go play in the professionally, because I was playing like in the D League,
right?
Because you got to play in there first before just so
scouts
can see us. Yeah. And so I was playing there, and when they were playing all the locals over me, and I was kind of, man, like, I'm busting this guy's ass in practice, and I'm not. So I was like, all right, so play the conference, and then was like, all right, I'm going home.
Really?
So, yeah.
So when you were out there, were you really only just focused on basketball? Like, did you get to go do exploring or anything?
I got to explore the cities and whatnot. Like, I was over there with my cousin and his family. They were the ones kind of, took me in.
Oh, sweet.
While I was over there. So, he showed me around and all that. So, but for the most part, it was just, just trying to hoop and make it on. And
because Philippines are like, they're kind of in the middle of the ocean, right? Like,
yeah.
Are they by Guam? Or is Guam on its own? I think Guam is on its own, and Philippines has got like it's in the chain of islands and all that down there. That's a nice plane ride, though, huh?
Oh yeah, nice long one.
14 hours or something crazy like that. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. Sweet.
So you went through that, and then you ended up making your way back here.
Yep.
And then where'd you go from there?
So I came back, and then I ended up at SPU, Seattle Pacific University.
Oh, okay.
And just was like, okay, I'm just gonna knock out my business degree, because the other thing for me with
I meant to ask what you were studying too.
Yeah. So I was, my whole thing was, so going back to like Shoreline, talking to Coach Estes, he was like, if you want to coach in college or in the NBA, or you want even be in the NBA, like you have to get your degree. Like that's something that they kind of go. So for me, my whole objective of going back to school was to do that, to go coach or just be a part of like some kind of organization. That was the goal.
Yeah.
And so, that's what all right, I'm just going to go, let me knock this out as quick as I can. And I got done in 5 quarters. So,
jeez. So you just ran through it?
I just ran through it, yep. Try to do as quick as I can. Yeah.
Sweet.
So, and for me, it was like, I'm not a school dude. So I hated school, but I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to knock this out, and I'm just determined to do it and just focus on it, because I know what I can do if I really stay on my timeline and do what I'm supposed to do, like I know what I got to do.
Right.
So if I just grind it out, I'll be all right.
I'm the same way. I can definitely be scatterbrained if I'm working on 4 things that don't really hold my interest. But if I'm like, my mom always used to say, he was like a rat on a Cheeto when he found something he liked. Like if you find something that catches my interest, like I'm all in. I'm zoned in on it.
Yeah.
So for coaching, like, What made you decide that was going to be what you pursued? Was it the love of the game for you personally, or was it like you love helping other people get better at the game and watching them progress? Like what about coaching made you pick it?
It was really just the love of the game for one. Love of the game for one, and then on top of that, just wanting to be around, just being around, basketball,
right?
And just however it was, like even if I was like, I mean, for me, that's why I ended up taking like an internship when I was at SPU with the Trailblazers.
Oh,
yeah.
How was that?
That was pretty cool. That was pretty dope.
So am I wrong in saying the Moda Center is the biggest arena in Western America?
I don't know.
I think it is. I think it might have the highest capacity.
Yeah, that thing is huge.
It might be in America, but I think it's like west of the Mississippi or something like that.
Yeah, that place is huge.
Yeah.
And so that was it was cool doing that and going down there and talking to.
Is that when they had Lillard and?
Yep. Yeah. So the year it was cool because when I was there, the game winner that Dame hit on Houston, I was at that game. Yeah,
nice.
And the place, it was wild. So that was pretty cool, being there for that and experiencing all that and just kind of learning. Like at that point when I was in there, I was like, man, I'll do whatever.
Whatever it takes.
Just even if I had to be the equipment manager or whatever, because those dudes, they're just being a part of it was cool.
Well, shit, what's a major league water boy make? Like $50K a year or something?
Oh man,
like,
sometimes they make 6 figures.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not too big to serve water to athletes. Like. On the field, all that. That's a good little gig.
Yeah.
Because that was always kind of one of my big regrets in life. Like I was really into baseball up until about 13 or 14. Then I found weed and women, and but I never I always just played it as a game because it was fun. Like no one ever once sat me down and said, hey, you can make a profession out of this. Whether even if you're not a professional athlete, you can still work in that field.
Exactly.
I never had no one told me that. So. Once I started smoking weed and stopped playing baseball, that was just kind of the end of it. And I'm like, oh, that's one of my big regrets is just not even stay, or even at least exploring what you could do with it. But I think it worked out all right.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. So how'd you end up getting the job at Oh, I'm drawing a blank. What's the school called?
Odea.
Yeah. I was gonna say O'Shea.
Yeah.
Odea.
So it's pretty interesting because so I grew up watching. Like I said, when I grew up, I was watching at Odea. There was a coach there. His name is Jason Kerr, and he was there for a while, and then he left and then took over at Franklin High School. And as I was kind of growing up, like I always kind of just stayed linked in with him or whatever, just following his career. And like I want to say when I was in college, I came across some article about him, and so like in the back of my mind, I said like, man, like sometime, whenever, I don't know when it'll happen, if it'll happen. Like the two biggest things I wanted to do was I wanted to coach at Odea, go back to where my roots were from
right.
And on top of that, I was like, and hopefully work with this guy somehow. I don't know how it's gonna align.
I'm just gonna put it out.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there, and it was crazy how it kind of just all came together because he retired. I want to say in like 2013 from Franklin to step down as the head coach, and at the time like Odea had this guy who I was like, man, he's gonna be there for a while, and then out of nowhere that dude just stepped down, and in the back of my mind I was like, man, the only person I could see getting this job is Jason, and so I think he stepped down, and then late spring 2015, it was announced that he had gotten the job.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like, man, that's cool. Like, I was happy for him. And I never knew him, never met him or anything like that. I just knew, like, in the back of my mind, this dude was probably one of the best in Washington at what he did.
That's crazy. So you never met him, never had an interaction. You just knew that was the guy.
Just followed his career, and just was, kind of in awe of him from afar. And so, like, I was going, it was like the summer, and I was kind of in between things, and in the back of my mind, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, shoot my shot and just email him.
Love it.
And see, like, if he'll respond. And so, like, I emailed him and kind of just, like, I'm an alumni. I went there. I've been trying to, I've been coaching the past couple of years at this level. But I'd really want to, it'd be an honor to, like, work with you if you take me, and at that point I was like, I'll do whatever, just to learn. And so got back to me quick, and then set up a meeting, and he hired me right there. And
really?
That it was
meant to be.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
So that's who you're working with now?
Yep. So I've been there for, God, it's been, this is year 6. And then, so it was funny because I was working, my first year there, I was out of the building. And then my second year, I ended up getting a job in the building under him.
Nice.
So I was working in the building. And then.
So you must be doing things right. This is not all by luck.
I like to think.
I'll take luck too.
Yeah, a little bit of luck,
luck pays a good portion of my bills too, man. I'm not gonna lie.
right place, right time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can look at it as luck or preparation meets, opportunity.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but when it works out, it works out.
Yeah.
You can't deny that.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, that sounds like a little Cinderella story. So now you guys are just out here putting points up left and right?
Yeah.
What's the last couple seasons look like for you guys?
So we actually had, he's a senior this year. He was the #1 player in the country.
No way.
Yeah, he's going to Duke next year.
Oh, man. Shout him out. What's his name?
Paulo Banchero.
Paulo Banchero. You deserve that, bud. Congrats. That's big.
So we've been pretty, so we won the state championship their sophomore year. So 2 years ago now. We were in the state championship last year, and then we lost to Garfield, and then we had this whole COVID, thing. Yeah. So we have an interesting season that we're kind of working with right now. So
I gotta ask about that. So what is kind of the protocol for that? Are they're letting people play now? Obviously.
Yeah. So the kids got to wear masks. We all have to be masked up. Yeah, we all got to be masked up.
Interesting.
We are only limiting our at home. We told the kids, you can bring 2 people.
Right.
Which ends up being like their parents coming to the game. So like we're real limited fan wise. But yeah, it's definitely
does that have an effect on the players, or they're not even noticing?
It kind of, I feel like it kind of does, because you'll have some teams that we played at Rainier Beach last week, and they had a huge crowd. Don't know how it happened, but they had a huge crowd.
Someone wasn't following the rules.
Yeah, and so sometimes you'll get those, but for the most part, when you have those schools that they limit who's coming in. Like it just seems like you're playing at a neutral site. So
well, and I have to imagine if you guys have the number one player on the team, you guys are no stranger to scouts and all this sorts of. And I have to imagine they're maybe not getting access to these games due to COVID and stuff. They're probably taking the season. Well, I doubt they take the season off, but I bet they're not flying, cross country and hitting all these spots. So that's got to be kind of, not great for the players. I was trying to think of the word, but
it is cool because I think the one thing that they did do well this year was making sure that everyone could access the games. Okay. So now you can stream them all every game. Yeah, so everyone's kind of been forced to stream their games. Before that wasn't a thing where they were like, we have to do this. So that was kind of cool where. For especially for us, whereas we didn't have to go out and go scout someone,
right?
So we had everything right there, and kind of made it a little easier.
And it's always good to hear when you're worried about what's going to come next, and someone actually adapts. Especially in a situation like this, none of us was expecting COVID and all of our sports to get shut down for a year. So it's good to see people pivoting and making things work so that they can still showcase their students. It's not for nothing because there's a lot of people who didn't even get to play their entire senior year. These are, and you can probably speak to it better than I can, but these are people who, have been training and working and waking up early and missing out on, extracurricular activities because they have to focus on their passion. This is what they're going to do for life, and they get their whole last year taken away from them outside of their control. Yeah. I'm sure that affects their scholarships and stuff. I don't know. Is there anything you can add to that?
No, for sure. I mean, it's definitely taking the toll, especially when you go up. Because if you follow sports with college, this year doesn't count.
Yeah, everything's got an asterisk next to it.
Yeah, so guys are basically taking this year, and a lot of guys you'll see are just transferring out of programs and going to a different program, and just kind of putting themselves in situations where they think they'll be better at. But what sucks is when these next guys come in, now you got someone who is supposed to be out, but he got an extra year. And so now it's taken away from their time because now it's okay, well, if you have this guy who's still a stud, senior, older guy.
Holding them as a super senior so they can actually play their last year.
Exactly.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I hadn't heard of that.
So these young guys are being forced to either redshirt or
bench it.
They don't get any offers. So So the real dudes they're fine, but when you have these guys who are fighting for a spot, and they're kind of on that on the cusp of hey, I can get if I can make it on a D1, be maybe mid-level or whatever. They're not even getting that look anymore. Right.
Not to degrade the ones who are, got the for sure seat, but, I think it's fair to say some of them can rest on their laurels, and there's the guys who are aiming for that specific dude's seat. Yeah. Who now doesn't get a chance.
Yeah. So they got to wait and do something else. So
that's interesting. So I haven't heard of that before. They're actually letting these people. Are they allowing them not to graduate so they can play again, or are they not graduating them because they didn't get all their credits because of COVID?
I don't know what it is.
Is it intentional for their basketball career, or is it just a side effect of COVID?
It's definitely a side effect of COVID because, like I said, this year doesn't count. So, if you come back next year and you're a freshman again.
Just
from what I've known,
whether you're a student or whether you're an athlete or not,
exactly.
Just period.
Yeah. Well, it's more for the NCAA clock because you get 6 years.
I'm making sure that because that sounds hey, I know you guys tried, but we're just gonna do it again. And
okay. No, just for sports. So if this year was pretty much a what because a lot of it too is a lot of teams just didn't play this year as well. They just sat out and were no, we're not gonna mess with it. So football was a big one as well because. A lot of teams played in the fall, but a lot of teams didn't as well. So a lot of guys just
and that was just kind of specifically based on what school, what county, what all this. It's just arbitrary things.
Yeah.
That's so weird, man. It really threw everyone for a loop.
Oh yeah.
So, because kind of on the same tip, I know you got kids. Are they in school yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they have to do online school and all that stuff?
Yep. We have a sophomore right now, and last year.
What?
Yeah.
I thought you just said you were 34.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys got busy early. Nice. Dang, I was not expecting that. How old are you a sophomore? 16? 15?
He's 16 now. Yeah.
Good for you, bro. You do not look like you got a 16-year-old son. Okay, well then perfect. Yeah. So this will actually add up a little better because I was hearing. So initially from the jump, the school's going to say what the school's going to say. You still have to do your work. You might not be showing up. This might be 100% online, but your grades are still your grades. You still have to do your work.
Yeah.
Now it kind of sounds like everyone's just getting a pass because it was such a weird word. How did your kid kind of adjust to doing online, or did he? I mean, I'm sure you put the smack down on him, but I have to imagine if that was me at 16, good luck. Yeah. Both my parents are working. I got no one telling me I have to sit on the computer for 4-6 hours, whatever it is. Yeah. Like, I'm gone.
Yeah. So interesting. So we have a 16-year-old and then we have an 18-year-old. And then we have a 4-year-old. So,
you guys are all full of surprises.
So last year was our oldest's senior year, and so when COVID hit, it was like March, where basically towards the tail end of your senior year, that's when all those events happened.
Right.
So it was pretty much he lost out on all of that.
It just hit prom and all that stuff, huh?
So all that was just like affected, and so what was good for him, our oldest one, was he was kind of dropping the ball and just kind of getting that senioritis.
Oh, okay.
And so basically what happened was when all this happened, they were trying to figure out how they can, basically still do the online school.
Right.
And so what ended up happening was the third quarter just got scrapped.
Wiped.
Yeah, and they're like, whatever you got to do to catch up. And so then, then the fourth quarter came around towards the end of the school year or whatever, and he was able to get his grades up. It hurt our sophomore, well, he was a freshman last year because he was playing football, wrestling, and was doing extremely well in school. And he's always kind of been one that has had trouble. But then when all this, like when he got to high school, he was just determined to just...
He got on a roll.
Yeah. And then COVID hit, and then he finished out the school year, did well, but then the start of this year was kind of like...
Yeah, you got to keep that ball rolling.
And it was kind of a struggle for him to not be just be at home all the time.
Right.
So it was definitely it's definitely been a challenge for a lot of these kids, and I mean it's going to continue to be one if we're in this again for another year because they've gone through now a whole school year of just being at home for the most part.
Right.
So I mean we'll see what happens.
And so,
next couple months.
Look, I know you work at the school and you also own your own business, and your wife does real estate. So it sounds like it's a little easier to manage childcare and whatnot, opposed to like a family who both work 9-to-5 jobs and whatnot. Like, I do not understand how those guys made it through the last year. Like, this is quickly going to turn into a COVID rant, so we'll move off of it. But it's just insane because I have a 2-year-old. He's not in school or anything, and his mom doesn't work, so it's not all that bad for us. But I got other people I'm looking at, and it's just kind of wild. So I like to get other people's perspectives, how they kind of went through it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's not something we'll ever have to go through again. Try and grab out as much as you can on it.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. So that brings me to Maestro Athletics. Where did that start? What's the story behind that?
So it actually started when my last year at SPU. I was in the business program and I was in the thick of it. They're very much like talking about becoming an entrepreneur, and they're talking about like if you can, I forgot what the tagline was, but something about change the community, change the culture, change the world kind of thing. And so they really
start small, grow big.
Yeah, they were really harping on that throughout my whole schooling there within the business program. But for me, I was like, I'm just trying to go make it to the NBA. Like, do something at that level. Like, I just need my degree for that. And so, I was just kind of like, whatever. Didn't really think about it. And I actually met her towards the tail end of my last year at SPU, or my last quarter at SPU.
Okay.
And, she has such an amazing background of entrepreneurial stuff that she's done, where they have a family store in Pike Place Market that she's just been linked to her whole
really?
life. Yeah.
All right, you guys might have to come down for episode 2. You might have to sit on the sidelines next time.
Yeah, no. You know, and she's been real estate. She had her own fashion company business.
We just produced fashion shows.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she kind of got in my head about, you know, you should do something that you like, that you're passionate about, that's revolved around basketball. And for me at the time, I was kind of in the mid, you know, I was still in school, so I wasn't coaching.
You're obviously smart enough to listen, it sounds like.
Oh yeah. So in the back of my mind, I was just like, what can we do? So, you know, being over in the Philippines, I was like, what do they not have that would be kind of a unique thing to bring? And so, you know, over here you have your, like right now Nike is the sponsor for all NBA, MLB, NFL, you know, stuff.
Yeah.
And so they do all like the the jerseys, the protective gear and all that. So over there, they're kind of like, they choose who they want to produce their stuff.
In the Philippines?
In the Philippines,
Yep.
yeah, in the PBA. And I was kind of like, man, like, you know, it'd be cool, because protective gear was so big.
Yeah.
And so I was like, maybe we can create a line of protective gear, like a McDavid,
Right.
but pitch it to the PBA and be like, we want to be the official endorser or sponsor over there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we you know, me and her ended up kind of sitting down and like, okay, what can we do? And just started coming up with ideas of like different protective pieces that we were gonna promote or try and, you know, sell to them.
Right.
And so, mind you, I just graduated in June, and we started putting this together like right when I graduated, mid-June, and we were just trying to just grind it out, trying to figure out how we were gonna do it. And again, it was one of those things where just things just kind of fell into place, and she was able to reach out to someone over there, and we got a meeting over with the PBA.
Nice.
Yeah, and I mean, if you hear the rest of the story, I don't know if you're saying nice, but
well, let's hear it. We got time.
So we ended up nailing this meeting, and
Sweet.
we have the stuff.
You got the Filipino runaround.
Yeah. So the crazy thing was
Sweet.
that year, so the Philippines hadn't qualified for an Olympic qualifying tournament in forever.
Uh-huh.
And this year they had made it to I think it was like the World Cup of basketball or something. I can't remember what it was. So we ended up going there, and it's crazy during this time of just over there, like basketball is everything to them.
Yeah.
So you go over there and like there's people playing in the streets, like on just like garbage cans that are just like
Right.
you know, on poles or whatever. And so like the national team making it was such a big thing. Like we were over there and like literally everything just stops.
Oh,
And everyone's just glued to a TV just watching. And so we get over there and we're like, all right, we have this meeting. And on top of that, so you know, traffic over there is like horrendous. So we get there and we're there for like 2-3 weeks before the meeting is gonna happen. And so the day of the meeting,
make a little vacation of it.
yeah, you know, and you know, we're just talking to other people,
That's
just
a good
trying to
move.
pick
Tax
pick people's
deductible.
brains and all that. Yeah. And so what ended up happening is the day of the meeting, we were like, all right, we're gonna leave an hour before. Which was a terrible idea. Mind you, it's like probably like from where we are right now to like Seattle. It's like the distance of like where we were going. Maybe it was like
So it's already a 40-minute drive.
yeah, it was not too long, you know. But over there, it's like it's nuts. So, mind you, we leave and we get out the street that we're coming off, and we don't move 2 blocks for 30 minutes.
Oh no!
So we're stuck on this
I have a
street
feeling
trying
you're not gonna make the meeting.
to get out, and we finally like move maybe like 5 blocks in 45 minutes. I'm like, we're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
So we call the person we were supposed to meet with, and like, well, we're leaving for I can't remember where they were going. Spain.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
we're leaving for Spain tomorrow. We won't be back till October. And I was like, oh, what are we gonna do? So, like, all right, well, we'll let you know. And so we kind of left our ticket open ended, but then, you know, we were kind of defeated at that point.
Right.
So we ended up just going to go
Went
get
back
lunch
with your
and-
tail between your legs.
Yeah, we're like, well, what are you gonna do?
I know that one.
Because we were only planning to stay a certain amount of time there and to nail this meeting, and it kind of just fell apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then that happened, and then we ended up talking to other people, and they're like, to be honest, like they probably wouldn't even give you a chance because they're kind of like the PBA is more about making money for themselves,
right,
and not like giving anyone money.
It's not about the community.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why that's why you see how the layout is, how they don't really have sponsors or anything like that.
And PBA is like the sports authority there, or
it's like the NBA.
Okay.
Over there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
the
their
Filipino
NBA.
Basketball Association.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So that's and so so just kind of we ended up just leaving and came back home. All right, so what are we gonna do?
And so did you already have a manufacturer or anything?
We didn't. So we were down there trying to look for manufacturers.
Yeah, that was
we had the samples.
That's what I thought PBA was a manufacturer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was the league. But yeah, so we ended up we had samples and we were gonna show them to them and do all that. And then while we were down there, we were gonna hope to find a manufacturer to produce our stuff. And when that kind of just fell through, we were just kind of like, all right, let's just kind of go back to
how every good business plan starts. Yeah, that's how every business story starts.
Yeah,
sweet. And so then you just gave up, and that was the end of it?
So we came back home. And then we were kind of like, all right, what are we gonna do? We are kind of like in the middle of stuff, and she still had her real estate practice, so she was doing that. And I was just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I dabbled in real estate for a little bit then. And I was like, it's not for me.
Yeah.
And then I got back into coaching. So that's kind of how I went back into coaching. And then ended up getting just like a job at like T-Mobile or something. To just kind of hold me over until I figure out what I wanted to do. So literally like Maestro was kind of like a back and forth, just tug of war of do we do it or do we not? And I was still kind of designing stuff, but just didn't know like how to do production or anything like that,
right,
or where to go for production. And so it was probably a good 2 years before we finally, it pivoted from being the protective gear to, with her background in fashion, again, she just kind of was like, you just do something different. Like, if it's not that, like, just do something that you like and what you want to do within it, and be just like a clothing brand at that point. So
awesome.
That's where it kind of like pivoted to becoming what it is today.
Okay. So you were talking about like legit like mouth guards and
Yeah, if it got there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so let me ask this. So were your parents like, did your parents instill in you like go to school and get a good job?
Yep.
So you were brought up with that.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any entrepreneurial
none.
any influence until you met her.
Yeah.
And I take it your parents have been entrepreneurs your whole life, and so you've never thought about it any other way then. And so she just had to lay the case out in front of you a little bit better.
Exactly. Yeah,
Sweet.
Yeah.
Good woman, man. She takes good care of you. You picked a good one. Okay, cool. And so she's the one who talked you into kind of like putting your own flair on the sports apparel and everything.
Yeah. So that's where it kind of went
she's
to.
She's chock full of ideas. I guess I don't have to tell you should listen to her, but she's got a pretty good track record so far.
She does.
Sweet. So are you the one coming up with the designs and everything? Or?
Yeah, so I have me. So it's me and then my cousin.
Are you on Adobe Illustrator and all that?
He uses Photoshop. So for me, it's like I'll collaborate with my cousin who's my designer, and we'll kind of collaborate with things of like, hey, I want to see let's do this.
Yeah.
And so we'll put all that stuff together and he'll design it. I'm pretty sure he uses like Photoshop, and so he'll just go to town and. That's just kind of like it's just kind of the stuff that we.
If you can scroll up a little bit, Jake, and find that one on the right, that guy right there. This is my favorite because this is such a cool take on it. Because I've seen so many people, they do their own rip of the Sonics logo, and it's legit the whole thing, and they'll just change instead of Sonics, it'll say something else, and
exactly.
It's like, sweet. I love the colorway. That's timeless, but I'm not seeing anything new. I love this because it takes away like. It's literally just the accent you left. It's the biggest, boldest piece you took away and just let I love it.
Yeah.
I like what you did with it.
Yeah.
Here, pop that down. I wanted to see. I was on here earlier. I seen these Seattle, and then I seen you did the 101s for PJ Crawford.
Yep.
Dude, how'd you make that connection?
Man, so you know, I was kind of in the midst of, we were doing these hoodies, the Rep the Town.
And these almost look like tech fleeces. Like they look.
Yeah, man. The material is great.
Okay,
I found
cool.
I found a good manufacturer.
Sweet.
So.
Yeah, they look above the board.
So we were working on this, and I was like, you know, it would be cool if we can get someone from each team to kind of be the spokesman for it. And we can try and get them a piece or, you know, a hoodie or something. And so, like, I literally hit up everyone from, you know, I hit up Sue Bird, who the O is the Storm one. Who else? Jamal Adams, Tyler Lockett, you know, all those guys, just trying to hit them up. And then I hit up, then I just started going down the Mariners roster.
Yeah.
So I hit up Kyle Lewis, and then JP, a couple other guys, can't remember who else it was. But then JP was the only one who got back.
Nice.
And so he hit me back and was like, yeah, man, like, I love your stuff. Like, you know, I was like, man, like, you know.
That's got to be big.
It was huge because, like, yeah, we.
He's all about swag. Like, that's his whole thing with the team. You know,
Yeah.
Swag.
Yeah. Bring a little style to the end.
Yeah. So, and it was cool because, like, when I thrown him this, he was actually dropping like a Jackie Robinson hoodie at the same time that he was doing too. So, so it kind of worked out perfectly.
Nice.
He literally posted our stuff and then his stuff simultaneously, and like the amount of just people who just like
flooded in.
Yeah, found us out off of that. Like that was the most. I was like, man, that was
Yeah.
well worth just. Yeah, just.
I'll be honest. I think I
throwing
came
us out
across
there.
you guys from like a sponsored ad or
Yeah,
someone, and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, this is hard. Because I've seen a couple people play with like you know, the different first letter or whatever, but you ran the whole gambit of all the Seattle teams.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is hard. And
You pulled it off, too.
yes,
Yeah, thank you,
I'm a
thank
sucker for good embroidery. If
Thank
you can
you,
get good
yeah.
embroidery on something, I'll probably buy it.
By the way, how much are these sweatshirts?
These are 60, and so it was crazy because these actually was our first piece that is just sold out.
Yeah, that
like
really
instantly.
boomed up.
So yeah, so for us though, like I think I was telling you when we were talking, like I have more plans to do more stuff with this because this was just kind of like originally it was supposed to be a navy hoodie because that's like my favorite color. But I was like, no, I can't do that because it's not attending to everyone else.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just
I
do a
know,
heather gray.
That's a good lesson in business. It's not always
Yeah.
about what you like.
Yeah. So I was like, let me just do a heather gray and see how it goes. And we just did like a limited run. Let's just see how it goes. And the moment we dropped it, like it went quick. Even before JP said anything, like it
That's
went
when you know
quick.
it's done well.
Yeah. So then now, like with us, I'm like, we can do one with literally, since that S is the middle in Maestro, like just throw and you know, Seattle. So it's
Right.
like we could throw any team in that and it'll be perfect. So we got a lot planned with that. I don't know if you saw the crew neck that we had from the shorts. Yeah, if you scroll up to the right there, yep. That one right there.
Oh, you got it in that.
Yeah.
The teal.
Yeah.
That Mariners.
Yeah. And that's a crew neck.
Oh,
you wanted to sample that
That's
one
a
out.
different M you put on there too.
Yep, that's the Sonic. That
The
was
Sonic's
one.
colorway
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
Mariners M.
Yeah, and we just put the S on the yeah.
Oh,
so,
and then you did the Seattle S. Oh, the Mariners
Yeah.
S. That's
How many different
hard.
designs of Maestro do you have?
So far, that's only the second one we've done.
'Cause
But we
that's
have like 3 or 4 we've been working on to just kind of prepare for.
Because that's a different organ O on that one too.
Yeah, that's a Storm one right there.
Oh, that's the Storm O.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the funny thing, funny story. This O is actually
the Oregon Ducks.
No,
right?
it's a Sonics O. So my cousin messed up, and so when I was like, hey, I want the Storm to be the last O, and so when we dropped it, I didn't even think of it as anything, and then everyone was like, oh, what's the O? And I'm like, the Storm, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's the Storm, and so like I was like, wait, hold on,
Is it?
That's not right. So yeah, I'm claiming it right now, it's wrong. But so what we ended up figuring out was he was looking at something and got mixed up. And so this is actually the last Sonics jersey.
Oh.
That was the O from that.
Sick.
So it's still Seattle, but it was
Interesting.
supposed to be the Storm. But I was like, let's get it right this time.
Yeah.
And so that's what it's gonna look like for the next one.
That's
whenever
sick.
that drops.
Well, I tried to catch this one a little too late. That should let you know. Don't hesitate. Buy it when it pops up. Yeah, what was I just gonna say? I'm just drawing it. Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. So, where did you end up finding your? I know this is kind of like a hot topic when it comes to like business owners and
Yeah.
stuff. So feel free to decline. But where'd you end up going for like your manufacturer and stuff? And was it an easy process getting hooked up with them? I'm working on my own little clothing thing with a couple other buddies, and we're doing it all in house right now, and we're like starting to break into that area of like having to find a menu. So it's not just blank tees that we're throwing our stuff on. We want to get some out there stuff. And so what was that process like?
So it started with, like I said, I had my buddy over in the Philippines, and he was kind of talking to a bunch of different people, and I was kind of told him like, hey, like I kind of want to go this route. And so he was like, well, I got these guys in China. Like, let me just hook you up with them.
Oh, he was already...
Yeah, he was kind of already linked up over there. Yeah. So it started with
who
that.
You know, not what you know.
It started with that. And then what sucked was our first couple drops, like... And this is, it's definitely growing pains of, like, you learn, like...
Yep.
Sizing and all that is important. Measurements. Because when I got the stuff from China, it was like getting... children's clothing.
A medium ain't always a medium.
No, not at all. No. It was like extra small. So I was like, so that kind of sucked. So we had like our first couple pieces that we dropped were, I wasn't happy with it. So like it was hard to sell.
That's hard to put out.
And yeah, so.
That is, yeah.
So we did some slides. That was like actually the first thing that we dropped, and that did well. But I was like, well, I can't just sell slippers in Seattle for,
right.
All year round.
You get about 2 months of use out of those.
And so then it was kind of like we went from there, and then so that right there, the shorts, the navy shorts, and the shirt combo and the slides were our first ones.
Are those like sweat shorts?
Yeah.
Bring those back.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So after this, and we just kind of didn't.
Is that 3M or is it just white on the side?
It's just white on the side.
That's hard.
Yeah. And so after that, it was kind of like, kind of took a break. And then literally we went from doing that. The next thing that we ended up releasing was those, the Irish shorts right there, which was that's for Odea. And I was like, man, let me just try this. Cause I had just been seeing the designs of people throwing like, the front of there's the logo name or whatever on the front of the shorts.
Yeah, right.
And it's become such a big thing. I was like, man, let me do something different where it hasn't been done for a high school. And so I was like, let me
you're the Odea Fighting Irish,
yep.
right?
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did that, and that one was actually one of the first big releases we had too.
Nice.
I tried to make the shorts as close as I could to like the jersey that we won the state championship in, but those ones went really well. So and it was easier to promote because I knew some people.
Right. So have you always been creative? Like, were you ever like consider yourself an artist or anything like that?
No, not at all, man. Not at all. Just I think of stuff. I'm like, man, this is kind of cool, but I never would have thought it would have came in this form.
Yeah.
She's the creative one. She kind of brought it out of me to be like, do this. So,
sometimes that's what it takes, you know. I never considered myself a creative person. I was always good with numbers. Mm-hmm. Like I was always analytical, logical. I didn't have a creative bone in my body, but I read this book. It's called The War of Art. Mm-hmm. Yeah, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, and it is a good book. And he talks about, the muse is like you want that creativity to come out of you. You have to appease the muse. You have to sit down and put it. Even if you don't get anything done, you still got to sit down 30 minutes a day, pull out that pad of paper, and just sit there. Even if nothing comes to you, but dedicate the time to it's not just gonna come, like if you only rely on just catching random ideas that come in, you got a long road ahead of you. Yeah. And so like just from reading that book, it's really opened my mind to like being a creative maybe it's not something you're born with. Maybe it's a skill like everything else. Yeah. Because you know what I'm really not good at? Drawing. You know why?
I'm not good at drawing.
Because I've never drawn. Yeah. I don't try to draw. I have no interest in drawing. But if I wanted to and I put in the time, I could probably draw. But I love this, man. I've just been trying to work my own creative juices, and it doesn't seem to flow out as well as yours. So we're just gonna keep enjoying your stream right now. Well, sick. So do you got any upcoming drops or any future collabs with JP Crawford we should be looking out for?
We got a couple. So one of the big things I want to try and do is promote more on the women's side, so the Storm. That's
Sweet.
one that we're trying to focus on right now, of trying to figure out how we can do it, and do something creative. Just because, like, I was just talking about this with one of my cousin, was like, you know, like WNBA, like it's getting bigger, but it's still like they're still super underrepresented. Like,
yeah, they make like a quarter or something of what.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys
But
do.
even that, like if you wanted to go find like a Sue Bird jersey or like
Yeah.
the shorts, I'm a big shorts guy, as you can kind of see.
Right.
But you can't find
That's
them anywhere.
interesting. I've never even thought about. Oh, you got the homie liking your stuff too. You know him, Forbidden Fruits, Coleman.
Oh no, I know.
Oh yeah, that's the homie, bro.
Oh, really?
He rocks Forbidden Fruits clothing company. He's got his own little thing. Click on that right there. Let's see what he's got up. We'll shine some light on the homie while he's up.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, make money, not friends. That guy's inspiration though. He's only like I swear he's like a year or two younger than me. He's got like 3 kids and he is out there putting. That's Camden Mac right there with the 101 embroidered cap on. Yeah, he's making some noise out here.
He's from up north too, right?
Shout out to Forbidden Fruit.
Man, you know what's crazy? I think I know this guy, but it's because back in the day when I used to work at Foot Locker in the Northgate Mall, and I swear this dude used to just always be in there all the time.
Yeah,
so his face looks super familiar.
That sounds
he looks
right.
super familiar.
But yes, this is the kind of stuff I love about our city. Like I've seen, you know, when I was in high school, it was literally all about the brands, and that's because, you know, we're in high school. We don't even have our own money. No one's making their own clothes. Like you just buy what's hot. But like as I've gotten older, like I think it's so much cooler to just spend that money with the homies than it is to go and spend it with, you know, whoever. You're never gonna see that money back. You might get some clout, you know, on the internet, but really, go and spend your money with the homies, people.
Yeah.
Like, this is what...
I appreciate that shout, though.
Of course. Yeah. Well, that's the whole point of this show. Yeah. Like, I will never be able to do all the cool stuff that, you know, the people who come on the show do. The only thing I can do is just showcase them and get them out there to the people, because that's really what it's about. Yeah. I just want to shine a light on the people who, you know, inspire me. I couldn't have gotten to where I'm at by myself, and, you know... have you ever heard someone talk about how, like, if you need motivation, you're doing the wrong thing? Like, you don't need... Motivation is good. It's a good tool, but it's not a necessity.
Yeah.
But inspiration is totally different. Like, I need inspiration. Yeah. I need someone who's going to, you know... I'm kind of a competitive person. Like, I like to look at people who are doing shit, and then I like to say, okay, how can I beat them? So it works good. Like, I love that you're doing your thing, but I use it as fuel for me to be like,
he's coming right at me.
You gotta get better. Hey, I'm coming for everybody. It just be like that. Sick. So did you have any big influences growing up, or like just anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Man, realistically, like, you know, my dad was huge growing up. Just, you know, I think that's the easy one, just because he was kind of like the one that set the role model for me to go play hoop. And then I always bring it back to my cousin, John, who was the same. Like, he kind of took me under his wing when I was in middle school or whatever, kind of like showed me the ropes. Just taught me a lot about life.
Yeah.
You know, and he was a dude that he loved to play. He didn't play at any, like, level or anything. He just didn't want to, because he's like, I don't want to play for, like, a coach or anything like that.
Right.
But he was always that dude where he stepped on the street ball court and you knew what he was
Commanded
getting.
respect.
Yeah. Everyone knew who he was. So yeah, but those two for sure have been my big influences growing up when it came to basketball. Yeah, I mean, other than that, just those are the two big ones. I mean,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Like,
did I hear you were in real estate for a little bit as well?
Yeah, a little bit.
So, okay. Does it sound like it went as successfully as planned?
No, it was. You know, I was watching her do it, and I mean, I give her big respect and big ups, because what she has to deal with on a daily basis. Like, everybody thinks they can do it, but it's a different beast when you're in it and doing it.
It's real easy till you're wearing those heels, huh?
Exactly.
My sister just picked it up. She's just had her third baby, and she's killing it. But I'm like, whew, man, I got one kid, and I'm like, pulling out hairs here and there. I don't know about all that. Bringing them to open houses and driving out to, BFE in the middle of the woods, and it is, it is definitely one of those jobs where it's like, oh, I could do real estate, and it's also one of those jobs where 90% of the people who come in leave within the next year, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people who start their real estate careers. Not a whole lot who see it to the end.
Oh yeah. I was the same, and I think for me it was like I tried to get into more of the investing side of it, but I mean I just come to figure out like, man, I don't know, it's just not for me. And so I'm not as passionate.
So let me ask you, what attracted what attracted you to it in the first place that even got you like wanting to start
real estate?
Yeah.
Oh, the money for sure.
Okay.
I think that's for everybody.
Just so we're all on the same.
For sure.
Because that's exactly it. That's people are. I think it's really one of those like. It's just one of those perfect jobs. It's right there on the cusp of being an entrepreneur. You're kind of your own boss. You kind of make your own hours, and you're kind of dependent upon your own work. But you are also at a job. Someone's built the systems for you. They kind of know what's going on, and they can build you to it. So I have no issue with people becoming real estate, like getting into real estate, whether you're successful or not, because I think it's a great like entry point into being an entrepreneur and at least getting a taste of what it's like to not have a boss telling you where you have to be at 8 a.m. Your lunch is at 8:30. Like, you need to have this, So we highlight wins and and I was always taught you don't lose if you learn.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So as long as you pull something from it and you can continue, because I've thought about real estate too. I keep going back and forth on this whole like buying my own house thing, because I'm 26. Something like that. I swear, after like 20, after 21, and people stop celebrating your birthday, you kind of just forget. It ain't all that important.
Exactly. I always have to do the double check. Oh, I'm 34.
Yeah.
I gotta count
I'm
my own.
thinking with 26, but I'm not 100% confident. But of course, I've explored the thoughts of like, I could go into real estate. Like, I got good people skills. I could probably be, but it's literally just for the money. Yeah. And there's a lot of other things I could do that I enjoy that make a lot of money as well. So I haven't thrown my hat into that ring yet, but I respect everyone who does. That is no two ways about it.
Yeah, it's not an easy one for sure.
No.
Yeah.
So what's your future goals with Maestro? Are you planning on dream big, speak it into existence?
Pretty much. So crazy thing that just happened recently, and I'll share it. I used to work at a Foot Locker, like I said earlier, and so this guy that I know who was the DM, or he was a manager at South Center, now he became a DM, and he actually reached out because they're trying to do this program where they're trying to put local brands into Foot Lockers to kind of
are you serious?
Yeah, do more community-based stuff, because they just started one in I believe in Compton, where it's a community store where all the brands in there, like your shoes are Nike,
all locals?
all that. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah, so they're trying to
see if you can pull
they're
up
trying to do a test one here,
Compton,
I believe.
Foot Locker local shoes.
So they're trying to do one up here and try and get local brands into Foot Locker as well. So that's one thing that they're still kind of working out. I haven't heard back yet, so
Well, I got my fingers crossed. Do you know who Cool Kai is, or Air Kai? He came out with his own renditions of the Air Jordan 1, but instead of the check, it's got the lightning bolt.
Yeah.
So he's been running numbers, but like I think last year Foot Locker reached out to him for the same thing, and they did like a legitimate collab in store. Like Foot Locker's getting on the gas. They're really starting to,
they're trying to
talk with their people, and instead of, they're always going to be a big corporation, but they're trying to, like, this is stupid cool. I have not heard of this. A community power store in Compton.
Yep, that's the one. Yep, that's the one. Yeah, yep. Yeah, so they just opened this one like I want to say it was like in the middle of the pandemic.
See if they got a list of brands that they're.
Yeah.
Power store.
Power
looked
store.
Like. Because I would like to see who all they got in there. I don't know if you follow like a lot of the actual fashion stuff, but yeah, that area is just booming up right now.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Do you know who Bricks and Woods is with Casey Lynch? They're do you know? Have you heard of ETC to?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
I have.
so
Yeah.
ETC Tacoma. One of the owners, Umi, he came up off of Rosewood down in
in
California.
LA.
And that's where like the hundreds were
Yep,
and all
yep,
that.
yep.
And so Casey Lynch, who runs Bricks and Woods, he's one of Umi's homies from down there, and he just got a big New Balance collab.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, it came out really nice. But they're promoting that right now. I'm just seeing a lot of stuff going on. What does it say? Hiring the city of Compton, recruit talent within a 5-mile radius of the store. The brand also engaged 2 local artists, Mel DePaz and Angel Wants, to design custom artwork for the interior and exterior of the store, as well as hosting neighborhood cleanups and maintaining a community garden. Interesting. They got a community garden at the Foot Locker?
I guess so.
We're going to clean this place up one way or another. Interesting.
Yeah.
So they said they're working with artists within 5 miles of the store. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a weird rule, but
I think that's just for that one.
Yeah. It sounds like they got a bunch more coming out.
Yeah, because they're trying to do. I know he said like they're trying to hit the big markets like Seattle, New York was another one that he kind of told me about, and I want to say Florida was the other one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's kind of like the ones that they're focusing on right now.
I almost convinced myself at one point that getting a job at Foot Locker would be worth it specifically for the shoe discounts.
Oh, yeah.
Would I be wrong in thinking that?
No, you are 100%.
That's what I thought, too. I'm kind of...
Especially when they had those 50% off days. Oh, man, I used to go wild.
Yeah.
My paycheck would come and it would go right back in the Foot Locker.
No, I need that back door, man. What does that say right there? Compton store comes at the successful openings in Detroit, Philadelphia, New York, London, Liverpool, and Hong Kong. Chicago and Vancouver, BC. That's not too far. We can take a trip to Canada if it's open.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right? If the borders are open.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, actually, if you want to Google something, have you ever seen the image of like the border between America and Canada? Like not at the border crossing spots?
No.
It's literally it's just evergreen forest as far as the eye can see. But they came in and mowed like 50 to 100, like look at these ones right there. You see that? They literally just came through and cleared out the trees 50 feet wide all across the country. And that's the border. There's no fence. There's no nothing. It's literally just... You were walking through trees, open space, and then you're in Canadian trees.
Wow.
It is weird.
Wow.
I don't think you're looking at the right thing. Is that a border? That little ditch was a border? Yeah, exactly right there. And the reason they do that is I don't know the reason. I have to imagine there's some reason for it, but I can't think of one.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but someone has to be watching this. How long across is America? 2,000 miles? 2,500 miles? So there's someone just got to be scanning this 2,500 mile long road.
I always thought there was just like a border that's crazy to see that.
Yeah, you can just... And then opposed to like the Mexican border where there's some funny shit going on there. I just seen a video of the cartels. They're in there with these bandsaws cutting down sections of the border wall. I'm like, oh my God, this is getting crazy. Oh, we're getting in the weeds here. Interesting.
Wow.
That sounds like average.
I bet you it would be kind of cool to walk that from start to end. Just 4,000 miles across America in an open...
Just to see where it goes.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think we'll wrap it up here. Did you have any like closing thoughts you wanted to add or special shout outs?
No, thanks for having me on. Appreciate
of course. My pleasure, brother. Thank you for coming on and doing what you do. You've been inspiring the crap out of me.
Man.
Once you release these Maestro hoodies, I got one of those coming to me.
For sure, I got
This is great, brother. This is exactly, you're the exact person I love having on here, I'm not doing this for clout or nothing. I don't need nobody with big follower counts or nothing. Like, I love my guys who are putting in the work every single day, doing something original, and as long as you're providing for your family and holding down your responsibilities, I'm totally on board with this.
Oh yeah, appreciate that, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go check the IG out. Check our store out. That's it.
Any stock you need to clean up? What needs to go?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I got the jerseys and the shorts right now.
Check the store. What's
They're
the
starting to
webpage?
go right now. It's MaestroAthletics.com.
MaestroAthletics.com.
Yeah.
And that's Maestro Athletics on Instagram as well.
Yep.
Well, beautiful, Anthony, brother. It's been a pleasure having
Thank you
you
so
on.
much for having
Please,
me
let's
on.
do this again soon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome.